Hello, ICMS teachers. I am going to walk you through the MAP testing page on the ICMS Faculty Hub. So first off, you can see that I added this cute little button over here that says ICMS MAP testing. So we're going to open that and it will take you to a new page. The very first thing that I'm going to introduce you to is something that you won't actually use until we're testing, but this ICMS MAP testing progress tracker right here, that is the very first document that we're going to look at. So there are two things that I want to show you. The first thing is the very first tab, MAP testing session information. This is where you're going to go the morning of testing to be able to see the information that your kids are going to need to be able to log in and take their MAP tests. So that morning, we're doing a single day of testing, which is different than what we've done in the past. Last year, we did block testing, or we did testing on a block schedule. This year, we're doing everything during 7th hour, so kids will report to their 7th hour on Tuesday instead of Power Up. When they get there, you're going to have the session name and then whatever grade that you have with you, you're going to write on the board, and then the session password and whatever that is. So just write those two things on the board, and that's the very first responsibility that you have as a proctor that day. The session name and password should stay the same all day. If we have to change it for any reason, we'll notify you, and then in this box we'll put the time that we made the change so that you can tell that, like, basically what you're working with is the most recent information. I'll show you this. So we have grade examples down here. Since this is a video, I don't want to click on these because they already have the names of our students. So I created this little tab called Example. So throughout the day, your job as a proctor is primarily to make sure that students are taking the MAP test, that they're moving along from math to reading to language. Some of your students will take them very quickly, and some of them will take longer. So how do you know, since you're not administering the test, how do you know where your students are at? Well, you come to this spreadsheet, you open the example tab, and then you come here and you'll see student 1. As soon as they finish with math, then I'm going to put an X in the spreadsheet. And then you'll know that remotely from the main office, from Jamie's office, Jamie, Tammy, and I are moving the student from math to reading. Sometimes that can take a couple of minutes. So once you see this X, just be patient. If the kid is like, I finished the test, now I'm waiting for the next one, then just ask them to be patient because we do move them along. However, it is okay to check with us to make sure that we know that the student has finished. And sometimes, if we're changing a bunch of students at once, one of them might not have their test moved over. So we're okay with you checking in, but we will tell you to, just please be patient. So during the day, this is most of what you're going to use, this spreadsheet, just to see how students are doing and making sure that they're moving along in their testing. Something for you to consider is that these tests are adaptive, and it takes different students different amounts of time to complete the tests. They don't have a time limit. It takes the average student 45 minutes to complete the test. So if you have a student who is taking a long time, try to move them along. Like, it shouldn't take longer than 2 minutes per question because the exam is designed for them to miss 50% of the questions. That can be a little bit difficult for some of our students, and just think about all of these new little 5th graders. They might have problems with that. The next document that I'm going to show you is this ICMS MAP testing guide. So you come to this document and it gives you an overview of what we're doing. The very first thing that I'll point out is that we are testing slightly differently from last year. We're trying to minimize the amount of time that we are disrupting classrooms. So we are doing a single day of testing at ICMS. Teachers who have a 7th hour will proctor tests for their students. Students will arrive in your classrooms at 7:45 instead of going to power up. Your administrative team and I have built in a 15-minute window for students to get where they need to go, to open their laptops, to open the NWEA app on their laptops. So that's something else for you to remember, is you have them open the NWEA app on their laptop. They don't go to any website. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll begin letting people into the testing rooms. So all 5th graders will have the same session name and password. All 6th graders will have the same session name and password, so on and so forth. We're running, like as far as the bells go, a normal bell schedule that day. All that is we're going to have breaks built into the daytime. So every 45 minutes, the bell will ring and you'll have a 5-minute break. Don't have students stop testing, like just let them stand up wherever they're at, and then they can come back and re-engage with their tests where they left off. The next document that I'll send your way or put on your radar are the proctor instructions. So if you are wondering, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Your job is actually pretty easy. You're going to write the session name and password on your board and tell that to your students. And then while students are testing, every so often you walk around and you just make sure they're making good progress. This should be a pretty easy day for you. And our intent of running test administration remotely is that it's not an extra burden for you. You're not trying to administer their test and monitor their progress. Like, you're just going to walk around every few minutes and check on kids. So here are the instructions for that. At the beginning of the day, so when students arrive at 7:45, once all of your kids are in your class, then you are going to open this document and you're just going to read this word for word to your students. So this explains map testing to them, what the point of it is, like how things will go that day. And then the very last thing is, if you're wondering, since you'll be with your 7th hour kids all day, when is my plan period? Open this document, Plan and Covers for MAP, and it shows by teacher, like when you'll have a 45-minute plan break, because one of the lovely teachers or faculty members who doesn't have a 7th hour will be covering for you. The other thing that I would tell you guys about, or just remind you of, is that as soon as students are done with all 3 tests, please have them close their laptops and put them back on the cart. Like, don't let them just sit on their laptops and browse the internet or do whatever they want. So they need to put up their laptops when they're done map testing. Ask them to bring a book. You can advise them to bring a coloring book or, crayons, whatever. They need to have some silent work that they can do while map testing is finishing up. If they can already start working on some stuff for their classes, like they have some homework or things like that, you can allow them to work on that when they're done with map testing. But we want to make sure that classrooms stay quiet. If we get to, if we've gone through several hours and there is a class where half of the kids are finished and your neighbor next door, half of your kids are finished, teachers can talk, and you're welcome to basically designate one of the classrooms as like the quiet room, and then finish up testing for the other students in the other classroom. We're really open to, what's going to work over the course of the day for teachers. Just remember, we have to maintain a quiet and structured environment so it can't get crazy. If you have any questions throughout the day during map testing, send me a text. My number is 405-202-5313. Or text Jamie or Tammy. We will be in Jamie's office all day, and we are looking forward to map testing and know you guys are going to knock it out of the park. Thanks for all you do.